Só que eu acho que o Isa vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez.
In my opinion, there is no one in the lightweight division that's going to beat Islam outside of what anybody can, you know? Anybody can win, but on a decision, no one's going to beat him. Nah, no.
You know, there are a lot of fighters that stay in a weight class for too long and they seem to kind of stifle their physical growth. I don't think Islam can stay healthy and stay in that lightweight division for any longer, and I think right now he's allowed himself to move into a division where his body's just going to grow into it. He's going to be incredibly powerful.
Charles Oliveira has left fans buzzing after saying Islam Makhachev won't waste time with Jack Della Maddalena and will simply grab him, put him down, and control the fight. That bold take from the former UFC champion quickly sparked reactions because it sets the tone for how unpredictable this matchup might really be. Oliveira knows firsthand how strong Makhachev's ground game is, and when someone with his experience points directly to wrestling as the deciding factor, the MMA world pays attention. Oliveira's view is simple but effective. Having fought Makhachev before, he has seen the kind of pressure the Dagestani champion brings. For Oliveira, it doesn't matter how sharp Maddalena's striking might be. In his eyes, the difference comes down to control, pressure, and takedowns. Oliveira believes Makhachev will just follow the formula that has worked for him time and again.
Quem que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
O Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora na luta contra o Bilal.
He sees Maddalena's boxing, footwork, and power as dangerous in the early moments, but eventually he thinks Makhachev will close the distance, get a hold of him, and the fight will quickly tilt in Islam's favor. It is a view rooted in first-hand experience, and Oliveira's confidence in that scenario made many fans wonder if Maddalena truly has what it takes to avoid being dragged into that kind of fight.
Só que eu acho que o Isa vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte, é um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né, agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta, mas se deixar o Isa agarrar e botar pra baixo é o time.
Not everyone saw it the same way, though. Dan Hardy, the former fighter turned analyst, came in with a very different perspective. For Hardy, the bout is not about whether Makhachev can wrestle, but whether Maddalena can create enough chaos and pressure to stop him from getting comfortable. Hardy pointed out that Maddalena has a rhythm and pace in his boxing that many opponents struggle to deal with. If he can keep that rhythm, land consistently, and avoid the clinch, Hardy believes Maddalena might shock the world. Hardy leaned toward the idea that Maddalena's striking is sharp enough to make Makhachev hesitant, and that hesitation could be all he needs to turn the fight in his favor.
Man, I've been high on JDM for a long time. You know, I remember doing interviews back when Ngannou was crossing over to boxing, and people were talking about who's got the best hands in MMA, and I was saying JDM at the time. I mean, his boxing's always impressed me. But at this point, I feel like Islam's moving up a weight class at the right time. You know, there are a lot of fighters that stay in a weight class for too long and they seem to kind of stifle their physical growth. I don't think Islam can stay healthy and stay in that lightweight division for any longer, and I think right now he's allowed himself to move into a division where his body's just going to grow into it. He's going to be incredibly powerful.
Jack Della Maddalena's head coach also made sure his fighter's side of the story was heard. He doubled down on the belief that Maddalena is ready for this challenge and is not intimidated by Makhachev's reputation. For the coach, the key is preparation. He said Maddalena has been drilling non-stop, sharpening his defense against takedowns, and working on creating angles that allow him to use his hands freely.
Big respect coming from Islam's team going into this one, and Khabib even acknowledged that he started following JDM a while back, knowing that potentially he'd be fighting Islam.
You know, they've got to this level because they know the sport and they know the game, and Islam and his team have the utmost respect for Jack, as we do for them. Islam is a phenomenal fighter. He's pound for pound #1 in the world.
According to the coach, Maddalena has the mindset and skills to catch Makhachev in the exchanges. He sees openings in Makhachev's style, especially when the champion champion is moving in to close the distance. The coach's confidence gave fans of Maddalena hope that this fight might not be as one-sided as some believe. His prediction leaned toward Maddalena being able to land clean shots that can change the fight instantly, no matter how strong Makhachev's grappling is.
He's made light work of just about everybody that's ever gone before him. The respect is mutual, and Jack's always asked me for the toughest fights he can possibly have. Jack does better the higher up of the standard is. You know, he raises his game to the level that he's fighting against, and I really believe that everyone's going to see the best version of Jack.
While Oliveira and Hardy gave their opposing takes, Robert Whittaker joined the conversation with a more balanced outlook. The former middleweight champion looked at the fight from both angles. On one hand, Whittaker recognized the danger Maddalena presents on the feet. He said Maddalena has crisp boxing and a dangerous ability to end fights quickly if he finds his range. On the other hand, Whittaker also highlighted that Makhachev is in a position where he has everything to lose.
I'm gone.
JDM versus Islam Makhachev. What do you think about this announcement?
I think was unexpected was the relinquishing of the lightweight title.
They don't want to do it anymore.
I expected it in a sense because Topuria did it. People would have to follow suit, but Islam's kind of like the poster boy right now for the UFC. In terms of this fight, I'm going to go Jack. Obviously, I'm going Jack.
Everyone knows. We always back
Obviously, I'm going
yeah.
Jack. When I said at that time, just then, that was objective. Okay? That was objective. I think Jack has that X factor. I think he has the gut, the grit, the determination to fight the takedown attacks that Islam is going to go for. And I think in a striking fight, straight up, Jack is better. I think he wins in the hands. Jack's got the better game to strike over 5 rounds than Islam does as well.
As the champion, every fight comes with pressure, and facing someone like Maddalena means he cannot afford a single mistake. Whittaker leaned toward Makhachev having the experience, composure, and all-around game to hold his title, but he still warned that Maddalena is the kind of opponent who can snatch a victory in just one moment. Whittaker's take was less about picking a side and more about pointing out how high the stakes are for both fighters.
Especially if Islam is trying to go for takedowns during the fight. People sleep on Jack's grappling game. They sleep on his jiu-jitsu. I don't think Islam is going to be as gun-ho with the takedowns as everybody believes because Jack has that level of offense off his back. Skill-wise, I think they both have their strengths. I don't think either one of them is overly superior. I do think Islam has got the kick superiority, and if Jack doesn't address that, which he hasn't in a lot of his fights, the kicks, he's going to get kicked a lot. All that aside, I think Jack's got the headspace. He's got the heart, he's got the ticker, and the grit just to get it done over 5 rounds.
Colby Covington also stepped into the mix with his prediction, adding another layer to the debate. Known for his outspoken nature, Covington focused on Makhachev's style of fighting. He expressed the belief that Makhachev's relentless grappling, constant pressure, and ability to shut down striking heavy opponents would be too much for Maddalena. The fight would not go the distance, and he suggested Makhachev's wrestling would overwhelm Maddalena before he could get anything going. His view was closer to Oliveira's, reinforcing the idea that if Makhachev executes his plan, Maddalena won't find the space to let his boxing shine.
Islam versus JDM. What do you make of that? Islam moving up to now welterweight.
Yeah, it's an interesting fight. I'm excited to see how it goes. You know, Islam, is a lightweight. He's going to be a little smaller in the fight, but he's a well-rounded fighter. So, if he's able to take down JDM and control him, he could definitely get the job done. But it's going to be interesting to see how the size advantage plays a difference in the fight.
Who do you favor?
I mean, I seen the odds were pretty big. They favored Makhachev like 3-1. So I guess I got to go with the odds if they're going 3-1. But just because JDM doesn't have good takedown defense, but you never know. It's a fight, and JDM has some good hands. So.
When looking at all these predictions together, the story of this fight becomes even more intriguing. On one side, there is Oliveira, who has felt Makhachev's strength firsthand, siding with the champion's ability to control and dominate. Covington echoed that same belief, focusing on the grind and pressure that Makhachev is known for. On the other side, Dan Hardy sees a real chance for an upset, pointing to Maddalena's boxing as a unique weapon that Makhachev might not be fully prepared for.
JDM did an interview I think this week, and he broke down that he believes Islam's stand-up is a little bit easier to deal with than Bilal's because Islam has more of a traditional style for his stand-up. Do you feel like people are kind of missing some of the X factors that Islam brings with his striking?
If he's saying that, I hope that he goes in believing that, because when he gets in there with Islam, you're going to find out a whole different story because I'm sorry, they're completely different. And by no means is Islam an easy for anybody on the stand-up. No, any MMA fighter that's a striker, that's not going to have an easy time with him. I've been with this kid like going on 11 years of watching him just destroy everybody on the stand-up. Guys that are...
Maddalena's coach pushed that same message, insisting his fighter is ready to stop the takedowns and turn the fight into a striking battle where he can shine. Meanwhile, Robert Whittaker stood in the middle, acknowledging both the champion's proven skill set and the challenger's dangerous striking ability.
I'm going to go Jack. I think Jack has that X factor. I think he has the gut, the grit, the determination to fight the takedowns, to fight the ground, the takedown attacks that Islam is going to go for. And I think in a striking fight, straight up, Jack is better. I think he wins in the hands. I think Jack's got the better game to strike over 5 rounds than Islam does as well, especially if Islam is trying to go for takedowns during the fight. I think, and this is people sleep on Jack's grappling game. They sleep on his jiu-jitsu. I don't think Islam is going to be as like gun-ho with the takedowns as everybody believes, because Jack has that level of offense off his back.
What makes this clash so exciting is that each prediction comes from someone who brings real insight. Oliveira's words carry weight because he has been in there with Makhachev. Hardy's analysis comes from years of studying matchups and looking at the technical side of fights. Maddalena's coach speaks from inside the training camp, seeing his fighters' daily work and preparation. Whittaker has been a champion himself and understands the pressure of defending a belt. And Covington, as a fighter who has dealt with wrestling-heavy opponents, knows the grind that comes with that style. Put all of these views together, and fans are left with a fight that feels impossible to predict with certainty.
From the things that I remember seeing in the Volk fight, their first pairing, I see the fight potentially going that way, but I think Jack's in a better position to take advantage of the things that Volk couldn't. I think he's got better hands, especially over 5 rounds with the longer arms and the reach, especially considering Islam's going to be trying to close that distance to get closer. Jack's tight fighting is so high level. Honestly, skill-wise, I think they both have their strengths. I don't think either one of them is overly superior in any which way. Like, yes, Islam would be a better wrestler, but Jack has the grappling to kind of threaten that. Not to mention, I think he's got the type boxing to make him pay for anything he doesn't pull off well. I do think Islam has got the kick superiority. And if Jack doesn't address that, which he hasn't in a lot of his fights.
As the event gets closer, fans will continue debating which side has the stronger argument. Those siding with Makhachev will echo Oliveira and Covington, convinced that the champion's wrestling and control are simply too much for Maddalena to handle. Those who believe in an upset will point to Hardy and Maddalena's coach, insisting that Jack's boxing is good enough to break through. And then there are those who take Whittaker's balanced view, believing it will come down to who handles the pressure better on the night of the fight.
Confidence stylistically with that Jack Della fight, they've kind of gone out of their way to chase that fight down. So they obviously see something. I feel like it'll be close, but yeah, that's a big step up. Jack Della's a pretty big boy.
Do you think Islam can get past him?
He's obviously got like I feel like he's got a chance, but I feel like that fight leans towards Jack Della.
No matter which way it goes, this matchup has already succeeded in capturing attention. The predictions have created buzz because they highlight just how different the possible outcomes are. Either Makhachev does what he does best, takes Maddalena down and controls him until he finds a finish, or Maddalena manages to keep the fight standing and lands something that changes everything. Both scenarios feel realistic, and that's what makes the fight so compelling.
In my opinion, there is no one in the lightweight division that's going to beat Islam outside of what anybody can. You know, anybody can win, but on a decision, no one's going to beat him. No, unless he decides he doesn't want to fight anymore and he goes and fights whatever. But he's so hungry, he's so motivated, he's got goals. You know, he wants to be one of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest. And you know what, I believe he's going to accomplish all those goals.
You told me 1 year ago you predicted Islam's future and that he would be champ by the end of 2022. I know you discussed on the Schmo Zone podcast before that he would like to also fight at 170 in the future, possibly go for that gold as well. So do you see that happening within the next year or two?
I 100% see that. If that's what Islam wants, yes.
When the cage door closes, all the predictions, opinions, and debates will no longer matter. It will just be Makhachev and Maddalena, one man trying to hold on to his championship legacy and the other chasing the biggest win of his career. Until then, fans will keep talking, comparing these takes, and waiting to see who was right in the end. Whether it's Oliveira's experience, Hardy's confidence in striking, Maddalena's coach's belief, Whittaker's balanced caution, or Covington's push toward grappling dominance, one thing is certain, this fight is shaping up to be one of the most intriguing showdowns of the year.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the talking has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now, but we are going to get a fight at 155. That's going to be Charles Oliveira, Ilya Tuporia, International Fight Week.
And now it's your turn. Who do you think comes out on top? Does Makhachev's wrestling once again prove unbeatable? Or will Maddalena's boxing shock the world? Drop your predictions in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more fight breakdowns.